City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it's Wednesday.
Chip, I can barely hear you for some
You
reason.
barely hear me? Let me change mics. Maybe it's the mic. Live TV. Is that better? 11? Mic 11?
Yeah,
No? Uh-oh.
it's all right. I mean,
Wait a minute. Steve just made a twitch. Is that better?
that's much better.
Okay. Thanks for Super Steve. He fixes everything.
It fixes everything on the fly.
That's right. On the fly.
But I've got 11 cranked all the way up.
Okay. Well, I'm on 11, so. Well, okay.
There we go.
There we go. Right? We're ready to go. Okay.
I don't know who's been playing with this board lately.
Saboteurs. We have saboteurs
Yes.
in the house. So, but okay, here we go. We get just so much to
Steve's
talk
the
about.
master of all things. Let me tell
That's
you.
right.
Thank you, Steve. And actually, I mean, it's been a crazy night last night because as you're reading there about you must.
The bike path.
Yeah, well, the bike path was crazy, but
Yeah, you know, it's only the headline of the article itself is really shows why I think that we, you know, the charter. Obviously, I'm opposed to the charter, but we should have not some. They tried to get 4-year terms. They got back to 2, but I think we should have 6-month tours. Isn't it amazing how responsive to the people everybody becomes when it's an
instantly
election
when it's
time?
election year, I know.
I like this quote. If you don't want the road, then we'll not do it. Well, we didn't want streetscapes, and you still did it. So isn't it amazing that when it becomes an election, the people's voice is always, oh, you don't want that? No problem. It's gone. It's gone. Don't worry about it.
But you know, the interesting thing is he during this, and I commended the mayor for acting because you know when you do what's right, but.
Even if it's for the wrong reasons. No, I'm only, go ahead.
But my problem was that I was there listening to this, and it was going on and on and on, and you know, it started to get crazy. And the bigger of the problems was the fact that the mayor was saying that we sent this to the city council, and the city council did vote it through unanimously. They granted this easement. And they're saying that the roadway is going to go across the Quequechan Rail Trail. And they've already started cutting the roadway to handle it. Now, accordingly, the mayor's saying, no, this had, Joe Macy said, no, that has nothing to do with the city. And he's right, because that's a state road. But they were doing that because they made a mistake when they originally cut the roadway for the Quequechan Rail Trail to go across, to go behind and go through onto Westport.
What, a government project making a mistake? What a surprise. Kind of like the Veterans Bridge when they had the pylons in the wrong place, and it delayed the building of the bridge another few years because they got a battery of engineers getting paid tons of money, and they actually they put it in the wrong place. It's like, really?
Imagine that.
So again, we have another issue with something that should have been done right in the first place. Welcome to government and government projects.
But the thing is the mayor, and I mean, I thought I remembered seeing these maps of this easement. But the mayor said, oh no, this was sent, and so did Joe Macy, this was sent to the city council, and City Councilor Steve Camara said, no, I don't remember seeing this map. And Pamela Liberté LeBeau went up and looked in her stuff up in the city council chamber because she has all of these, and hers did not have the map. And then when I went looking in my computer files, there was no map for this easement. Now the mayor says he's going to send down to the city council a request to reverse or rescind this easement. Now, I want to see if that happens. And again, people are being cautious. I'm not saying the mayor's going to lie and not do it, but the people are being cautious because, like it or not, this was a deal. Any way you look at it, the people are calling it a deal. And when they start looking at campaign finance reports and they start seeing money changing hands, and I'm not saying that somebody was paid off, but meaning campaign contributions, they start going, well, you know, this is a deal that was cut. And why weren't we included? And why didn't we get this information? So people have a lot of reasons to ask a lot of questions. Now, they walked away from this feeling a little better than when they walked in the door. And the mayor didn't have to come down because he wasn't invited, and neither did Councilor Macy. But they both came down to answer the questions on what it was about. But this got heated at times.
Well, you know, CJ, it becomes, you know, these things now become political because, you know, and look, let's not sugarcoat this. It's campaign season, but I'm looking at this article, and it says in the article that you know, the mayor actually sent it down and signed it, and I got a piece of. I was just looking at the quote here. And of course, I don't know what happened to it unless we get. But it said he signed it, he sent it down, and now he's, obviously there are issues. And this is another issue. It's about process with government projects and anything cities and towns do, especially when politics gets into it. It's very, very difficult to sift through all the machinations of these things because there are so many different twists and turns. You really can't follow this stuff sometime because it starts out with him sending it. He sent it down. He agrees. Now he disagrees. And it, you know, did they have a map? Didn't they have a map? This all gets down to one simple thing. In private industry, when they have a project, they pretty well have everything. All the I's dotted and T's crossed. They know what's going to happen on the project before they begin the project. They give it adequate time because money and time are issues because it's coming out of their pocket. Governments, unfortunately, don't do that. I mean, look, they build billion-dollar casinos in Las Vegas. They're all finished 99% of the time on time. They're all very well constructed, and they get done. And then you look at government projects. I mean, let's face it, Massachusetts has the rather dubious distinction of having probably the worst public project in history, the Big Dig. I mean, it's used as the poster child for, you know, government spending gone awry. And, you know,
more like government waste.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. It's government waste, but it's not. You know, that's the thing that disturbs me. They've got a label, just like we change labels to make things more accepted or less accepted. So they refer to it with that kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a euphemism, government waste. It's not government waste. The government doesn't have anything. The government has our money. It's stealing your money and wasting it. That's the thing that disturbs me because they put this title, oh, it's just government waste. You know, it's kind of like when you go to a casino. Why do they give you chips? Little red and black and various colors and whites and all these little chips when you gamble. Very simple. You forget it's money. It's like playing Monopoly. And you have a tendency to spend more. If you were taking the money out of your wallet and throwing it on a table, and every time you saw a $10 bill and a $20 bill and a $100 bill out there, it goes, oh, that's a $100 bill. Well, if it's a little black chip, after a while, You know, you get all, okay, and you throw one out, and that's the thing. So what do they do? They use semantics. So they put this title of government waste on it. So what does that imply? That's to tell the public like it's something that doesn't affect them. It's the government that's wasting it. But the government is only the holder of your money. So it's not government waste. That's you know, that was a very well thought out euphemism for them urinating your money into a hole. You know, we've all seen it, and we've seen paying $185 or $200 for a toilet seat that you can buy in one of the local big box stores for 17 bucks. But this is the thing, and in Fall River, it's an art form now. So this is this situation, as it shouldn't be confusing. But then again, this is only one of many situations we've had like this. How much confusion did we have on Dominion? Do you remember that circus?
Oh,
I know, you were down there. We didn't get the letter. No, they did send a letter. No, we didn't get the letter. The letter doesn't exist. And then you found it on a phone in 5 seconds. And, you know, it was like, it was chaos. But that's a diversionary tactic. They make it as confusing as possible to make you forget what the core issue is. The core issue is that it wasn't done properly from the get-go. So at the end, during an election season, it's always, let's reverse positions. Oh, you don't want it? It's gone. Oh, you don't want the purple bags that I supported since they came in? Oh, they're gone. Everything's gone. If you don't want it, okay, I'm gonna speak out now. I don't like streetscapes. You gonna get rid of that? I don't think so. But that's okay, because we know that streetscapes affects people who are your contributors. So, but this is the whole thing that, you know, the only thing that changes is the headline, the name of what is screwed up again because of lack of process. And that's what really disturbs me. You know, you can call it by, now it's the bike path. That before it was Dominion, then it was the incinerator, and then it was the school, and you know, it's just, you need a scorecard, but it's still the same core issue: lack of process and no consequences for actions that cost the taxpayer money.
Well, it's guess what? It's not his money. That's why it's not their money. It's, you know, it's our money, and they don't care. But this bike path thing is going to be a thorn in everyone's side for some time now. And I think we're going to have to really look at this and watch it closely to see what happens. Because Commissioner Cusack was there, who has retired from the fire department. And he had made mention to the fact that, well, if the fire department's asking for that roadway, it's probably to get the ambulance there if they need to get to, I mean, you have politicians making excuses. You know, give me the proof. And I said that during the Charter Commission meeting last night. I said, according to 43B, corporate counsel is supposed to write the summaries, not Mike Mioza. And Commissioner Assad said, no, here's 40, and he read it to me. I said, good, show it to me in the law. And he showed it to me in the law. And okay, he was right. Because they replaced the whole charter, the Charter Commission's supposed to write the summary. But they made the statement that Mike Mioza wrote the whole summary. And they also confirmed that it's a whole brand new charter.
Which is not the ballot question that started this whole thing.
Exactly.
I believe, and we'll get the exact language for Friday's show, but I believe the question on the ballot that I actually voted for, and now I'm really sorry. that
You and a lot of other people.
You know, but it said they were going to review the charter. They were going to look at it. They didn't say they were going to throw out the entire thing, rewrite it, hire somebody from out of town and do what they did and take away all the rights of the people. It was supposed to be a review, you know, bringing it up to date with some of the stuff that was a little archaic and wasn't applicable today, and then have, you know, charter reviews on an ongoing basis to fix things. But, you know, of course they got charter reviews, but now the people won't have any say in it. So, you know, the whole thing is, it's a complete, it's number one, right from the get-go, we get to the bottom line. From its inception, this thing wasn't correct. They didn't do what the citizens of Fall River voted on. They didn't do what they said. They didn't say, we wanted to scrap the entire charter. And Commissioner Assad obviously said that very clearly. So, you know, their summary, they're going to write the summary. Their summary is extremely misleading because they're only going to put the positives, and they wrote it. They voted for it for the most part, except for the only commissioner that basically, in my opinion, represented the people. And of course, they're going to skew it in their favor. They're not going to talk about how it's going to take more signatures to run for mayor now than it does to run for state office, and how they made it more and more difficult for everything. Recalls are virtually impossible, which many people will think is a good thing, but that's, you know, that's not true. The fact is, our Constitution in this state says they're at all times answerable to the people. And what is more answerable than having a process where if the people feel that somebody is abusing their office, they have the ability to remove them before they do too much damage. Because the option is they stay in office and get as much money as they can, and then maybe they'll get thrown out of office. Let the people speak. I mean, this entire nation is predicated on the people running its government. It's supposed to be a republic. They represent us. So if we want to get rid of them, we should be able to do that. And this charter virtually makes it impossible to effect any change, like putting the mayor on every committee, and then complain about, oh, you know, this charter stinks because the mayor's got too much power. Then you write a charter to give him even more power. You know, so the whole thing just, like I said, from the get-go, they went off the rails like almost immediately. You know, they weren't even out of the station, and the locomotive was off the rails already, going in the wrong direction.
Only in Fall River. Only in Fall River. So, what do you think about having Amazon headquarters here in Fall River?
Yeah. Oh, another election. You know, we're going to try to get Amazon. Sure. What does the CEO of Amazon make?
I believe it is 36 or 37 billion dollars.
Billion. That's with a B.
That's with a B.
Yeah, that's what the company made, or that's what his salary is. I don't know. But regardless, yeah, all these executives all these executives, and Amazon, by the way, just ran Toys R Us out of business.
Another business going down the tubes.
Even though Toys R Us got almost as much as the market share as they did, but because of their ability not to have any other overhead like people working in their stores, and just people in their warehouses, they ran them out of business. So, but you look at this thing and you go, wow. I mean, what is going on here? It's Amazon. The people from Amazon are going to come down and what are they going to buy? A 3-decker in Fall River? You think a guy that makes billions of dollars wants to live in? He doesn't even want to live in Padnaram or Little Compton. That's like a step down. This guy's probably got a $50 million house in Beverly Hills or somewhere. He's got a compound like the Kennedy compound. You think they actually want to get near a place that's ranked as the fifth worst city in the United States to live in? It's got crime and you know, a school system that's a problem. These people, they live in a different world, and let's get realistic here. You know, they're not going to headquarter here when we're less than an hour, if you speed a little bit, from Boston. At least Boston is kind of it's the capital. It's kind of a megalopolis of all the upper northeast coast. But these people live in areas that have, I mean, look at the town surrounding Boston. where all the people who make big money, why do you think Newton and Wellesley and all those communities around Boston are so affluent? They don't have any industry. All they have is retail stores and businesses to support the residents, because the residents all have big incomes and discretionary cash. Fall River does not have that. So obviously it's not going to be a magnet. And, you know, I mean, look, and ironically enough, Fall River's got a really good location because you're close to 24, you're close to 195, but we don't have an airport. We got rid of that. And at least for them to get to a major airport, they can jump in something. But, you know, look, this is another, they're going to make a pitch. You know what they're going to say? Well, we struck out. And that's it. This is just another.
But look who's making the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Look at me. Look at me. Look how much I'm doing for the city. And look.
No, it's Froed. They don't work for us anymore, I thought.
Oh no, they're making friends now. They're making nice again.
Yeah, they're making nicey nice.
They're making nice again. They're gonna be, before you know it, they'll get back into the city hall. They'll get back into the city hall. Rent free, and everything will go away, because this is, you know, 'tis the time, 'tis the season to be flipping and flopping for whatever will get you the most votes.
'Tis the season to be amicable.
Well, I don't know about amicable, but
hey, you know, here's the funny part about this, though. This is for a 500,000 square foot building to start with, and plans to expand to 8 million square feet of office space by 2027. Where do we have 8 million square feet of space? Okay, is it all going to go into the life sciences park? I mean, and do we even have that much square?
I don't know. Yeah, and or maybe they'll just eliminate the entire south end or something and put it down there near the casino so they can all go gamble. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, again, this is, we're going to make a pitch, but you know, let's look at this. You know,
and I'm not, you know, and I'm not saying I wouldn't love to see the Amazon's second headquarters come to Fall River. I think that'd be great. But the problem is, you know, Ken Fiola says it in his statement here that, you know, we meet some of their requirements.
Some.
Right, some. We think we meet some of their stated requirements, Fiola said. The city is part of the metropolitan market areas for both Providence and Boston. It does, but that's not what the requirement says. It says it wants to be in a metropolitan area, not the metropolitan market. See, remember, semantics.
Yeah. Well,
semantics.
Well, as we said before, CJ, you know, these businesses and their headquarters always tend to be in metropolitan areas, because there are always very, very high-end communities that surround metropolitan areas, because all the big money people from the metropolitan area go to a suburb like Newton and Wellesley, and they live in these places that are very, very different than
Amazon World Headquarters is currently located in Seattle. Does Fall River look like Seattle? Well, right now with the weather, we kind of look like Seattle.
Well, yeah. The weather may look like, but it's definitely not Seattle. Seattle is quite the, you know, if you've ever been to Seattle, and I have, it's quite a
totally different area.
It's quite an area. You know, I mean, the weather stinks. So it just goes to show how, if you've got the right kind of demographic and you've got the right kind of economy, and you will get it. Because nobody ever moves to Seattle for the weather.
No, that's for sure.
I'll tell you what.
They might for the coffee.
Yeah, you might as well live in London, because that place, it rains like 200 and some days a year in Seattle.
I've been there a couple of times, and you know what?
Yeah.
Like I said, you may want to go there for the coffee, but not much of anything else. But, you know, this has been a interesting week. One of the things I want to state, which I think was funny, I went to the Charter Commission meeting yesterday. I also went to the Historic Commission meeting yesterday. But guess what I had a hard time doing? Getting in the building. Now, these are public meetings, and all the doors are locked. Did they know I was coming?
Yes.
They said, CJ's coming, lock the doors. But I don't know what's going on in Fall River. I really don't. But, you know, I did have to commend the mayor on his position on the bike path. But now the question is, I want to see him follow through with it. I want to see him follow through with it. And I have suspicion, and, you know, I may even want to take odds on this, that alleged fire egress, second means of egress that they're talking about is going to come back all of a sudden as a requirement and not a suggestion.
Well, why did they put it in the original plan?
And not only that, I want to know what version of regulations it's going to be governed by.
Yeah,
When they
so-
say it's a requirement, I want to know what CMR.
So do I.
Okay, because it's going to be interesting to see. Because, you know, everything automatically to make it happen becomes a requirement. But when you ask for the proof of the requirement, the show me in the law, nobody can show you in the law. And that's why I liked what Commissioner Assad did yesterday. He actually pulled the law out, and he showed me, no, this is what it says right here. And then he confirmed that we weren't reviewing the charter, we destroyed it. We came up with a whole brand new one.
Well, yeah, it's good for him, but I know we're getting close. I just gotta get to this one, because this one really, it makes my blood boil. Again, the bad blood on Governor's Council boils over rushed judicial appointment.
Yep.
Remember a few shows ago, we were talking about the Supreme Judicial Court of
Yep.
Massachusetts making that absolutely ridiculous ruling. And we've talked before on, you know, many years ago, for years, we've talked about the fact that we should elect judges,
Yes.
not have politicians. Now they've confirmed the judge, and a complete Salim Rodriguez Tabit by 5-2 for a seat on this is Superior Court. I'm sorry, it's not. So, which is the the next step down. Okay. Now they talked about a policy that's normally used, and they and this is what one of the opponents in a fight to do with it. It's a travesty of justice, right? This was a setup. It's a setup. It's a disgrace. The lieutenant governor shouldn't be part of it. Again, politicians taking care of politicians, Russian appointments, bending the rules. The rules are always bent in favor of politicians. It was like the time that they changed the fire chief from a civil service chief to a contract chief, and we collected enough signatures under the law to stop it, because the law said if this thing was going to go to a ballot, and we got enough signatures, that vote to do that would immediately be null and void, and it had to wait for the ballot question. But the then mayor, who was a 30-year rep, went up there, and they just made a legislative path and circumvented it. And like what happened when you went to court and they said, well, even though you might be right, it's already done and there's nothing you can do about it. Even though the law should have taken precedent, they got their way temporarily. Fortunately, they picked the right guy, and it blew up in their face, or the wrong guy, but the right guy for us who were in favor of keeping it civil service. But again, this clearly shows how the working man doesn't get a break. You got to live by the rules. They make their own rules. If the rules don't suit them, they twist them and they manipulate them, just like they do all the time. So if that doesn't make you angry as we begin to roll the credits, then I don't know what will. So stay angry, and we'll see you Friday.
Yes, we will. And if you're looking for a job at McDonald's, forget it. The kiosks went in. No more cashiers.
Wait till they get the robotic service.
Well, that's what the kiosk is going to do. Have a great day. We'll see you on Friday.